Right then, this is a road test video and it's for a Honda Civic 1.4 SI I-Shift. This particular car is registered LG10DNE and mileage at the start of the road test is 47,174 miles. The reason for doing these road tests is basically so customers of ours actually get to see the cars we're selling actually in operation prior to coming to see us. That way, if there's any issues with the vehicle, we can and we will relay them back to you. It is a critical video. We're very well aware that lots of our customers come from not just the UK but Europe as well. So if people are willing to put the time and effort in to come and see us, then the least we can do is tell you if there's anything fundamentally wrong with the car before you come. Also done on a very quiet country roads, very close to our premises, so hopefully be representative of what you'd feel yourself if offered a test drive in the vehicle. So starting with the engine of the vehicle, 1.4 VTEC engine. It's a lovely unit, they really are. Starts absolutely instantly, as all Honda engines tend to do. Settles to completely smooth and even idle. Pulls really willingly through the rev range of the car. It's a very, very willing unit. There's no warning lights on the car relating to the engine or any other part of the car for that matter. Car's just been delivered to us from quite a long way away, so it's up to full operating temperature and temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car. Engine absolutely spot on. Gearbox of the vehicle, I'm going to go more into the details of the gearbox and how to operate it in a second, just from personal experience of them. Suffice it to say, it works absolutely perfectly in the car and in all modes. Steering of the car, really strong point on these cars. It's a lovely power steering setup. Track's absolutely bullet straight. There's just no vibrations at all coming back to the steering wheel of the car. It feels utterly precise on the road with no wear or slack in it at all. It's a brilliant, brilliant power steering system and it's perfectly suited to the chassis of the car. The chassis itself, again, what I'm looking at for on road tests, is just any signs of mechanical wear underneath the vehicle, and that normally manifests itself as sort of clunks or bangs coming from underneath the vehicle. Yeah, when it goes over a bump, you should clearly be able to hear it hit the bump, as you'd expect in any car. But what you don't want to be getting is any kind of those sort of nasty little metallic clunks from underneath the vehicle. And there's nothing from this at all. It's absolutely perfect in that sense. The chassis is fantastic. It's very comfortable on 90% of all road surfaces. It's incredibly agile, which is why people who still enjoy their driving love these Civics, because it really rewards. It's actually a really good fun to drive, but obviously ultimately it's about getting people from A to B and predominantly families in a degree of comfort, and I think it strikes the balance really, really well. Brakes on the car, I give them a good old shove. When you hit the brakes, they go down, the car goes down straight and true, doesn't pull left, right or otherwise, and there's no vibrations or pulsing coming back through the brake pedal of the vehicle, so all in very, very good order. Looking around inside the car, it's literally, as I said, just been delivered, so it's not been cleaned yet, but it's actually very clean in here. It's not going to take much to bring it up to spec. It's in lovely condition. This is the later facelift version, so basically you can tell that because the trim around the gear lever here on the doors, it looks more like a sort of tungsten type effect. It's actually far more scratch resistant than the earlier bright silvers they had on these pre-2010 models. Also around here you kind of get this kind of pseudo carbon fibre look, and again on the early models it was a bright, a very sort of shiny plastic, which looked really lovely actually, but unfortunately fingernails or grubby fingers, and it could look a little bit tired, a little bit too soon. I mean, it's beautifully made. There's no buzzers, creaks, rattles or anything inside the car. Dashboard itself, as I've often said on these Hondas, I just absolutely love. It's got this two-tier design, so you can see the major information up high on the dashboard, the stuff you want to see, like your radio readout, ventilation, gear you're in, econometer, but most importantly obviously your speedo there, and it's just genius. Down below that you've got this kind of hologram effect where the dials come out towards you, It's just, I love it. I love these dashboards, and at night it's an absolute work of art. It really, really is. I've kind of jumped through the mechanical stuff more quickly than normal, only because I want to talk about the gearbox a little bit. As I said at the start of the video, it is a critical video, so if there's something not right with the car, you know, as I said, you get to know about it. There's nothing on this car. It drives absolutely beautifully. You know, it's hard to differentiate it from one that's just rolled off the production line. It's that good. So coming to the gearbox, kind of hard to explain, but unfortunately some people don't explain these gearboxes correctly. It is an automatic gearbox, but the fact is it's actually using the 6-speed manual gearbox under the bonnet from the manual car. So it's changing the gears for you manually. So it's a clutch internally is going in and out as with a manual car, but you just don't do it. There's no clutch pedal on the car. You can never stall the car, doesn't matter what you do. It's very, very clever. The advantage of that means that you get these 6 forward gears, so you still get amazing economy out of the car, whereas the ones with torque converters, more regular automatics, are more power sapping. They're also much more expensive to fix if they go wrong, of course. So basically, think of the gearbox in 2 ways. Put it into A for auto. It says A on the dashboard there, up high, and it'll tell you what gear you are within that automatic gearbox, and just leave it at that. Drive it as normal automatic, which is fine. Or you can drive it as a manual car, and at any time and at any speed you can activate it. So literally the gear lever on a nice spring, tap it to the left, I'm now in manual mode. The A's disappeared off the dashboard. Currently I'm in 6th gear. I've now got a choice of whether I use the gear lever down here or the paddles up here. Paddle on the left goes down the gears, paddle on the right goes up the gears. Down here I can either pull the lever back to go down or forward to go up. It's as simple as that. So if I want to change down, I personally prefer the gear lever down here. It's just always have done. It's just where your hand would go for a manual gearbox. So changing down, just literally tap the gear. It says I'm in 5th gear. Tap it back, I'm in 4th gear, and then all the way down to 1st if necessary. It also rev matches. So basically what happens is, as you change down the gear, if you didn't, you'd go like that towards the windscreen of the car. So it blips the revs for you. It was very, very clever indeed. It makes the down changes incredibly smooth. And going up the gears, obviously 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th as you now worked out. I love using the manual side of the gearbox. It means you get to select the gear you want it to be in at any given time, especially for overtaking manoeuvres, so the car's not kind of floundering around and wondering what gear it should be in. Also worth pointing out, in manual mode you cannot again stall the car. So if, let's say, I'm going to deliberately put myself up in a much higher gear than I really want to be, I'm in 6th gear now, I'm going to hit the brakes and come to a bit of a stop, or close to a stop. It's gone 5th, 4th, 3rd, and it's changed down the gears for me. It is sensed I'm going too slow for the gear I'd actually selected. Obviously it won't change up for you, you've got to do that yourself, but it just means you can't stall the car, and it is utterly brilliant. Again, if I want to use the paddles, just use the right hand one there, 5th, 6th, and then 5th, 4th, just changing down the gears on that one there. It's fantastic. And then to change back to auto again, just tap it to the left. I'm now back in auto mode. The way I've personally used these, I always use the manual gearbox 90% of the time. I actually prefer changing gear. It's so simple, there's nothing to worry about. So, but it also gives you more control of the vehicle. The automatic side, if I'm in heavy traffic or stopped, then I might chuck it into automatic. That's the way I personally drive them. A little tip for when you're in manual mode, when you come to a stop, change down as far as 2nd gear, come to a stop and let the car select 1st gear for you. If you try and select 1st gear, you probably wouldn't do that in a manual car. It'd be too aggressive, too hard on the gearbox. So when you come to a stop, literally, and I'll do it in a second now, put myself back into manual mode. I'm in 6th gear, I'm going to change down 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and I'm literally going to come to a stop, and and rather than changing into first gear, I'm going to let the car do it for me, and it's selected first gear. It really is as simple as that. So I hope that helps if it comes to, when you're looking at one of these cars, because they are absolutely fantastic.